Posing is non-verbal communication. You're talking to the audience and to the judges without words. You gotta practice all the time, and not just when you're planning on practicing. Sometimes I would walk out of the shower and I'd have the stereo on. At least we used to call it a stereo. They still call it a stereo? But the music would be on in my apartment. I'd hear a song and I'd go, oh wow, it's a great song, you know? Maybe sometimes my girlfriend would say, try this, honey. I'm like, okay, let me try it. And that became my music. And I would think about moving, and I would practice posing even in the car. Of course, I couldn't get out of the car and practice, in the street, but I would think about the movements when I'm driving. I would think about how I could express myself non-verbally. And one thing I don't see nowadays, and what I consider old school, is posing is non-verbal communication. You're talking to the audience and to the judges without words. Something you have to do, and that's missing nowadays. Everybody goes up and they hit a crab shot, they hit a double bicep, maybe a twisting back, they walk to the other side of the stage and they ask for applause. I mean, I was taught by my mentors to talk non-verbally, to really just stand there initially and command a response from the audience, even before you posed. But posing, it has to be practiced even during the times you don't plan on practicing. When the thought sort of comes to you and you hear a song and you hear music, that's the perfect time to pose, as well as the times where you spend time with a dance instructor or somebody who understands posing as well. But that's what I used to do. And over the years, of course, you develop your own style. Initially, everybody copies posing. Initially, everybody copies somebody else. I used to copy Zane, and I used to try to copy Arnold, and it wouldn't work. It didn't work for me. But eventually, you learn how to pose from your own. You discover, you learn, you invent. And I learned how to pose initially because I wasn't a dancer, I wasn't a ballet person. The original early bodybuilding girls, they would say to me, I like that thing you do with your hair, Tom. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I would, they said, when you run your hand through your hair and you look up at the lights and you flex that one bicep, I like that. I'm like, really? I didn't know. So I used the feedback from the girls. I learned more about posing from the girls than I did from the guys back in the 70s and the 80s. But I really learned a lot about posing when I wasn't planning on posing. At the beach, when I was a student, and I wanted to go to California to study with the masters. So I'd be at the beach, and we had no suntan bed, so we went to the beach every day after the gym. I would listen to Arnold, I would listen to Corny, Robbie would even come to the beach, and I'd watch them move, and their style was classic. Robbie used to move like an animal, like a tiger. Arnold, sort of moved like a gigantic lion. Everybody had a style. And as a young man, as a teenager, I have to be more than just a big muscle guy. I've got to develop a style and a movement pattern. So over the years, I guest posed every single weekend for 20 years, okay? We had no Facebook. We had no Instagram back then, so I had to learn how to pose on stage every weekend at different states, different countries, and things came to me. I learned about what audiences like. I learned about what audiences don't like. And the more I learned about what sells as far as my nonverbal communication, the more I incorporated that movement style into my routine. And over the period of 20 years, you develop your own style. You learn how to walk on stage and just say to the audience, it's okay to go on this ride with me. You invite the people in the audience to go on the ride with you. You know how you watch a movie and you go, you're the guy. You're like Arnold, or you're Jean-Claude Van Damme. You become the character and you relate to the character. Posing is no different. It's non-verbal communication. Now, one key thing I never told anybody, I'm going to tell you, is that before I walked on stage, I would emotionalize. I would think about one thing which I never told anybody what it was. I would think about that one thing and think about it real hard. It would affect me. It would energize me and put me in a certain mood. And I'd walk on stage and people would sense that and feel that and go, wow! Think about what one thing excites you, what one thing puts you in that mood. Why are you into bodybuilding? Why are you into training? What's your goal here? What does this bodybuilding life mean to you? Whatever, your girlfriend, I don't care. But think about that one thing, don't tell anybody what it is. Emotionalize like an actor, go on stage and express yourself. When you have more questions, send your questions to Old School. They will send them directly to me and I will answer them. And the last thing I have to tell you about is simply keep it old school. Bye-bye.